state ties, which is the reason why we decided to give this podcast a try.
You're tuning into the Inferno B.S.S Sports Show.
It was a banger.
I just love their fight. I mean, they never give up.
If you know, you know.
This is titled We Win Championships or You Get Out of Town.
Yeah, that's right. RIP to Jack. He's not dead, but...
No place I'd rather be. Go Blazers.
Got a full house in here, man.
Let me work on my intros real quick.
This was a sweep. Let me see if this was a sweep real quick.
So much experience, so much potential. And they show up, they show out.
You can't take the heat. What makes you think you can survive the Inferno?
Well, look at where we've ended up. This is certainly an unfamiliar sight. This isn't the podcast room you're used to. We've certainly moved over into a new set, a new frontier here in Mass Media 1106, the new video podcast room, the first, I think, major production they've had in this space that we've had so far. Of course, you're tuning into Season 5's finale of the wonderful Inferno B.S.S Sports Show. Welcome in, everyone. Jalen Scott alongside our usuals, Ansley DeCenzo and Electra Thomas here on my far left. And also joining us for this episode will also be Sawyer Baltimore, but he's unfortunately not available here, as you can clearly see. So we'll have him check in throughout the show with a couple of pre-recorded segments of his. But also to my right here is Deontay Daniel joining us from the Spectator, one of the Spectator sports writers, is our guest host today. Someone who hopefully we're going to have on for the next season. Deontay, how you feeling, man? How you feel about being on the show?
I'm feeling good. I'm really blessed. Thank you for the opportunity for having me here today. Absolutely.
This is going to be a great show. And I just want to say first of all, we apologize for how long it has been since our last proper episode, going all the way back to the beginning of September. Now here we are in the beginning of December, getting ready to go into finals week. This semester has been
life be life.
It's been draining.
You're telling me.
Very draining.
You're telling me. So with that being said, this episode is essentially going to be a full recap of all the fall sports we've had so far, as you can see here, with our wonderful props here at the front. Shout out to the men's basketball team for allowing me to borrow this basketball. And also, I want to give a major shout out to the VSU New Media Center for the poster here that we have here behind me, and also the red lights we have here in the corners. You'll see those more in our solo shots. Massive shout out to them for the supplies and stuff here. So we're going to cover soccer, volleyball, cross country, football, and basketball on the season 5 finale of the Inferno B.S.S Sports Show. And as we always say, if you can't take the heat, what makes you think you can survive the Inferno? So we're going to kick things off here with cross country. They ended their season down in Lakeland, Florida for the NCAA South region, the national runners meet for the cross country season. They wrapped up their 2025 campaign quite a while ago. They actually finished up in the beginning of November, battling through warm and sunny conditions. Both teams finished 17th of 20 overall, both the men's and women's team, in a deep 20-team field against a lot of teams that would eventually go on to compete in the actual D2 national championship, particularly the Gulf South Conference champion Lee University, which what kind of perplexes me, just a bit of a side note here, why is Lee University of all teams so good at cross country?
They're good at everything. We should know that by now, though.
No, they're not good at everything.
Yes,
they're not good at everything. But okay, you might actually have a little bit of truth to that. But cross country for some reason they just dominate the conference. But that's neither here nor there. But VSU's runners competed with a lot of grit on Holloway Park, which is known to be pretty challenging. I'd imagine a lot of the runners probably listening in, they hear the words Holloway Park, they go, ooh. Oh boy, that was tough. So going over those results here again, both the men's and women's team finishing 17th overall in their respective races. Samantha Savanon Rios for the women's side, the women's 6K placing 67th overall, time at 23:52.8. Alanta Lofton following behind her at 25:11, finishing 94th. And our third top 100 finisher being Emma Burnett, clocking in at 25:18. For the men's side, running the 10K, Nick Waddell led the way as always, or as typical as really I should should say, clocking in at 58th place overall, running 34:20.4. James Wilkerson following up in the top 100 as well, placing 92nd at 36:23. And the Tashia Bass literally coming in 3.7 seconds later at 36:26.7, clocking in at 94th place. So for this cross country team, I'm especially really proud of this young core. I mean, you're talking about Savanon Rios, Waddell, Wilkerson, Bass. These are runners that are going to be here for quite a while, right? They have a couple more years.
I think with that being said, is they've definitely shown some consistency.
Oh yeah,
and they're building a strong foundation. I mean, cross country, it's tough, especially in the GSC. It's tough all around. So. Yeah. It's a competition wherever they decide to compete at, you know.
Exactly. So this is only going to prep them more and more because cross country is one of those sports where you don't have to play in a tournament. You have to play in a conference tournament to eventually decide if you're going to play in nationals.
Right.
You're kind of already going to nationals, or at least the first round of nationals, being the South region. So going up against a lot of those tough competitors like Mississippi College, like Palm Beach Atlantic, Lee University, Tampa,
Flagler.
all the Sunshine State teams. That's really good competition to have, and it just continues building that platform for cross country to spring forward off of in the next couple of years. I'm really excited to see where they go for there. So we're going to transition on over to soccer, is brought on by our nice little ball here. Ansley was so nice to bring us a soccer ball for this one.
Y'all know I have one.
If you didn't have one, I'd honestly be concerned.
Yeah,
I'd be a little concerned. I'm not going to lie to you in the slightest. So getting us started here with soccer, I mean, what an end to the season they had. I mean, what was it? 5 or 6 wins?
Yeah.
Yes. Winning 5 of their last 6 to end the season. I mean, considering the season they had went through with this young core. I mean, wow, that was an explosion.
Right. So they went 6-8-4, and like you mentioned, like with all those new faces and even new GAs in the mix, soccer is a sport where you have to have that chemistry.
Yeah, you do.
On and off the field. Like, within more individual sports, I'm going back to cross country. Obviously, you're a team, but like you're competing against your teammates, right? So for soccer, in this instance, like those young faces, those young girls had to mesh with the returners, and I think it took till the end of the season for that to really happen. Yeah. So, but I'm really proud of them, and what I will say is, I think after my class graduated, that's when Coach brought in all these transfers, because the transfer portal is consistently changing. And he kind of decided to lean on that. But he also did bring in some Valdosta locals, which is always a good news. And So it worked out for him. I think that next year, I think it's going to be better. And I mean, I also made a note. I wanted to highlight some players. Caitlin Scherer. I know you were just pulling her up.
She was huge. All GSC second team.
Right. And she stepped in a role. She was a good player when she came here, FGCU transfer, and came here first year. Kind of, that happens when you're in a new team. It's tough to kind of just come in and perform like you can, right? She came in and she meshed well with the girls. This year, she filled a role that needed to be filled. So I'm proud of her.
She was a GSC Player of the Week as well, correct?
Yeah, multiple times, right? Or just one?
I know she won.
Just one.
Oh, just one. Okay.
I don't want to go. I don't want to go through the GSC archive.
Yeah, that's too tough. That is way too tough.
But talking more on Shearer, finishing second on the team with scoring with 12 points, one of 2 plays start all 18 matches. When I said workhorse, she was a workhorse. At midfield with 5 goals and 2 assists on the year. But you want to talk about players to highlight? We also got to talk about humans. We gotta talk about Taylor Humans, man.
She is a beast, and it's crazy because when she came here, Kennesaw State transfer. Yep. She also played at Tusculum, where she was a killer there. Yeah. Great player there. She had some accolades. I can't name them off the top of my head, but Kennesaw, her soccer career has been kind of in the mix-up. I think she tore ACL, had to come back from that. And Kennesaw State was a great program, but the last 2 years has kind of fell off. And she was looking for a place to call home. She came here, and she did that.
Yeah,
she did that.
She was a spark plug sometimes. Probably one of the more aggressive attackers I've seen in the GSC so far. Maybe only second, third, or fourth behind. What's her name for West Florida? Maya Swinton. Yeah, Maya Swinton. But Maya just has crazy acceleration. But Taylor has really. She had really great breakaway speed. That's
what she was known for. And I will say the way that coach likes to play is he likes to play people into space. She's someone who doesn't like that. She's not a player where you want to play her the ball and she's going to run onto it. She wants it at her feet. She wants to beat that last defender and she's going to go to goal and she's probably going to score.
Cost her a couple offsides.
Right. And I mean that's how it goes. I mean, if you're a forward, that's bound to happen. You're never going to have a perfect clean sheet at the end of the game. But she stepped into a role that needed to be filled, like I said, and I'm really happy for her. And I think she's got one more year left. So let's see what happens with that.
Yeah, that's going to be really exciting to see. Because I remember questioning at the beginning of the semester, with Molly and Anna leaving. That was pretty much our primary assist for goal getter, point score duo. But now move to that role. I mean, you have Tatiana Machado, you have Taylor Humans, you have Caitlin Shearer, you have a lot of you have Kaylee Kearns as well at the forward. Again, Caitlin Shearer, Sophia and Zini, and Adanda now. Running the midfielder.
She's a workhorse too, and I think people sleep on her. Anna is a girl who comes in and gets that extra work, and she doesn't tell people. You don't see that from her. She's quiet, but she knows what she's doing, and she's a weapon for sure.
Oh yeah,
she's a weapon.
Oh, no, I swear we didn't forget to mention Maria. I
have it on here. I was waiting. I was waiting to chat about her. She came in freshman year, true freshman, and she really wanted to make an impact. And she's another one who's quiet, but does the talking on the field, right? So, and absolutely. I mean, what more could you ask for, right? A player who minds her own, but she goes on the field and everyone on that field respects her.
Yeah, it's business.
I want that player on my team 24/7.
Yep. You want to pick her. If I'm a captain, that's the first person I'm picking.
Without a doubt. But you also talk about these seniors as well.
Right.
Victoria Barr, the Kimmel sisters, Catherine and Carolina. And I can't remember which one tore.
Caroline, and she had to do a full reconstruction of her lateral meniscus and ACL.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
Caroline, hoping for a speedy recovery for you.
I know.
As someone who's also gone through an ACL tear, and you've gone through yours
meniscus,
as well.
Not as bad, but
it's still awful.
But she took it like a champ, and I mean, everyone in this room knows how much her and her sister love the game.
Yes,
and she took it so much better than I honestly thought she would. And I asked her, I was like, what do you think?
Half people would ever take it.
Yeah. I mean, that's your senior year. She's played almost every minute from what I can imagine. She's always been a trustworthy player. And I asked her, I was like, what about a fifth year? And she's like, this happened for a reason. And she's like, now it's time. It's a phase of life that's over for me. And now I'm going to focus on my school. And
completely can respect it.
So I'm really proud of her. I do also want to mention though, Lydia Lewis.
Oh yeah, you can't mention without talking about Lydia. Yeah. She's a rock on that defensive end. She was a stable force there.
I will say too, she had another big role to fill. I'm sure you remember Sam Worley.
Yes,
and Lexi Hall maybe.
Yep.
So that is a role you have to have a dominant player in a center back position, and if you don't, your team's not good. So it's she stepped up. I do also. This is the biggest. I guess thing I want to say also, Bianca.
Yeah, Bianca Martinez.
She also stepped up. She came in, didn't do too well her first year, came in, stepped up. Her and Sydney Foy, coach wanted some height back there in the back line because we were playing, we're a short team, you guys know. We are. And then some of the comments he made, he was like, I just have too many short people on the field. So he put Bianca in. She was a great player to start with. She came in, her and Lydia mixed really well, and she did what she was supposed to, so I'm proud of her.
Yeah, defense is always so incredibly important, but there's always one more layer you have to go through, and that's Claire. Brick wall. She was a brick wall several times.
She ranked 4th in saves with 73 and top 5 in the GSC with saves percentage.
You see what I'm talking about?
She is. I love that girl. She is so good, and I will say she is a player that has grown tremendously in all aspects of her life since she got here to now.
Right.
And I will never forget after the last game, she came up to me and she was crying and she was like, "Is there any chance?" Like, bawling to me, like, "Is there any chance we're gonna make it?" And I'm like, "Claire, I'm not sure." She just loves the game, guys. She loves the game, and that is one of the most respected players on this team from when she got here. You guys know, as a freshman, you kind of have to build your way up, but she came in and she did all of her proving on that field, and she was just someone that everyone could go to and just trust ultimately.
Yeah, that's what you need out of your captain. That's what you need out of your leader.
She made a lot of big time saves, especially in the last few weeks of the season.
Yeah, especially in those last couple of games. Did she actually post a clean sheet in one of those? I think, if I remember. But also one more thing. You mentioned how Claire was talking about, are we going to continue on? For people who don't know, that last stretch of games, those last 6 games against Auburn Montgomery, where they won 7-0, against Eckerd College when they won 3-0, Christian Brothers won 4-2, Delta State lost 1-2, Mississippi College on senior day won 3-1, and then against Union on 3-1. Won against Union 3-1. It was really that Delta State game where we all thought, is this team going to make the GSC tournament at that time? And that Delta State game. I think that lost it for us.
It did.
We almost won it back.
Yes.
We almost won it back against Mississippi College and Union because we had tiebreaker. We had tiebreaker against Alabama Huntsville because we had the same records, same overall records, same conference records, and unfortunately, it came down to head-to-head. I think it came down to head-to-head.
And that's what it was. So,
the 8th seed.
But it was also, what was crazy is I will also add in, if you scroll up, the Christian Brothers game, we traveled to go play Christian Brothers and Union. And Union, we were supposed to. You may not know this, but since obviously those 2 teams are in Tennessee, we were supposed to play both. Union had already told, this is a little bit of tea, guys. Union had already told some people that they expected us to not play that game only because their field was waterlogged and their field didn't drain good. So they knew that the whole time, and our team still had to stay the whole weekend. And then on the day of the game, they're like, "Hey, we can't play you guys, and we don't have another field available." That's within GSE guidelines.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because that Union game got
rained out.
That got rained out.
And it got postponed. And so the deal was we weren't going to have to play them, quote unquote, because if we were to win the rest of our games, we would have had to play them, right? So, but since we lost to that Delta State team and Union, it was like AUM had to beat Union, and they did. So that's what gave us the upper hand. That's why Claire came up to me afterwards and was like, "Do you think we'll make it through?" Because AUM was not predicted to beat Union. They did beat Union, and then it went to head-to-head, and then we lost to Huntsville, and they kind of got the go. So let me just say this last thing too. My freshman year back in 2021 was the only year that we really made a run, and we made it to the first round of the NCAA tournament. I still had the little medal that we got for it and the shirt. And Coach is a great recruiter. We have the talent, but when I tell you guys we have the worst, I don't even want to call it luck. Just everything bad that could happen to us happens. Every time. And it's like we go on that field, we perform. I know you guys have watched us play.
Yes.
We are a great team.
Yes.
We are, and the talent is there. It's just that missing piece. It's the finishing. It's
usually the finishing.
Yeah, it's the final fourth of the field. We've just got to capitalize that, and I'm looking for that next year. So we'll see.
Because y'all out hustle.
We do.
Y'all out hustle every team. It's literally just the finishing.
It's the finishing.
Just got to be able to put the ball in the back of the net. That's that's the point of the game.
Right.
You put the ball in the back of the net. It can't get any more simple than that.
Right.
So with that being said, we're gonna wrap up this soccer segment again. A great finish to the season for the soccer team, especially with this young core. I mean, there's a lot to look forward to. I mean, only losing five seniors. I mean, granted, they were incredibly important seniors, but this core going into next year is going to have all the time and the resources in the world to really make a step forward. And which speaking of young course lecture. I think you're tired of me saying that phrase now because I said it like 4 times in the freaking sports workshop class that we did. It was literally just a couple days. It was just a couple days ago. We recorded like another like sports show news segment thing, and I kept transitioning everything with "speaking of," which to be fair, it fits.
It does. It makes sense.
It really
makes sense.
Because if we're gonna talk about
it all
volleyball,
ties in.
It all does tie in. Because if we're gonna talk about volleyball. Man, if we're gonna talk about volleyball, this is a team that this team was special in its own way. You know, last year they had one of their best seasons in recent memory, going 19-12. They were a wagon. They were one of the better wagons in the Gulf South Conference. They were a team you can look at and know who your playmakers were, and they were a really likable team. With JoJo Smith, with Christina Pettigrew, Mackenzie Murray, Audrey Bennett, all those seniors, all of them. That created an extremely fun team. That had years of experience to build up with. But this team was all something different. This is a team that I remember saying this a lot of times for several teams in like the earlier seasons. I think I said this particularly with the softball team, that pressure makes diamonds.
Yes.
And in this case with this volleyball team, starting 1-9, that was the pressure that built and fortified this team going into conference play. They burst out on the scene in conference play. It started with a loss to West Florida, but to be honest, who didn't?
Yeah.
Who didn't? And just with that as well, I'm gonna make a little bit of a sad note here. Change the volleyball conference tournament format. It is a broken system. That's all I'm going to say for now. I literally wrote a whole column piece about this. Change the tournament bracket. Why are the 1 and 2 seeds getting byes to the semifinal round of a tournament?
That makes no sense at all.
Semifinal round. When you have basketball, when you have both basketball brackets, the baseball and softball brackets, which are double elimination, but no one has byes. Even women's lacrosse in the Gulf South Conference, they only have 1 bye, and that's for the 1 seed because they have an odd number of teams. Why is volleyball like this? You're just gifting West Florida titles at this point.
At this
They've
point,
won their 8th straight.
You're giving them a free win.
You're gifting them titles at that point. Now, I'm actually so mad about that, but rant on that aside, rant on that completely aside. Talking more about this volleyball team. Unfortunately, starting up. The last episode we had on this came out, I believe, September 13th.
Yes, I think.
By that point, the volleyball team, and by that day of recording, I actually don't remember the season had started yet. I don't even remember the season started yet. So,
they probably hadn't.
So I'm going to give you a quick recap here. Ortega Volleyball Classic went 0-4 against some really competitive teams,
really
against some top ranked teams, Grand Valley State and Washburn. They were top 25 in the nation. Our own volleyball tournament, we only came away with 1 win against that. Lost to Palm Beach Atlantic and Georgia College. Then went down to Tampa and Florida Southern against some strong Sunshine State Conference competition. That unfortunately kind of tracks. So by this point, volleyball was 1-8. Then they face West Florida at home. Goes 1-9.
Which is crazy.
They go 1-9 at that point.
Let me just also add, if I'm an athlete on that team, especially a new one, and that's how my season starts, my confidence is...
Yeah, it's down. It's down.
Literally.
But you know what? Here's the thing, though. They didn't let that define them.
Which is good.
Because here's how the rest of it went. 3 straight wins. Christian Brothers, Union, Auburn, Montgomery. Back-to-back losses against Huntsville. Back-to-back losses against Huntsville and Montevallo. And then 4 straight. Mississippi College, West Al, Trevecca in 5 sets, and Lee University in 3 sets.
Trevecca was also the number 1 team in the league,
They were the number 1 team in the conference at that time, tied with West Florida. Then we handed them their first conference loss in 5 sets. Then we lost. Then we lost against AUM, back-to-back against Christian Brothers and Union. Lost 3 straight against West Florida, Montevallo, and Huntsville. Then capped off the season with back-to-back wins against West Alabama, Mississippi College 2, to end the home games, in which those last 2 games against West Alabama, Mississippi College, those were fun. Those are extremely fun for me to call. And then we had Trevecca Nazarene Lee, which we lost, which sentenced VSU to the 6th seed in the tournament, because by that point, this like last 2 weeks, if I remember correctly, it was at the West Alabama game or the Mississippi College game. No team had a seed.
Yeah.
No team was given a seed yet. No one was ranked 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or whatever. West Florida, at that time, it was pretty much a battle for 1 through 3 between West Florida, Trevecca, and Huntsville on who was gonna get the 1 seed. So we could have had a possibility of Trevecca actually hosting the tournament and not West Florida for the 8th consecutive year. I digress, however. But unfortunately, those last 2 losses against Trevecca and Lee sentenced VSU to the 6th seed, where Montevallo jumped us to the 5 seed. So we're still playing at home for the GSC conference tournament, in which we faced destiny, or we faced a team, as I said in a video, if you've watched that on my Instagram, we faced a team with a lot of destiny on their side against Christian Brothers, the same team that we swept in the regular season. They were coming into this game hot.
I do want to say
hottest teams.
I completely agree, and we beat them. We swept them, right? The first time we played them. They come back home. This day, what was it? November.
That was
November 18th.
That game was November 18th.
And they had how many players this game?
Who? Christian Brothers?
Yeah. They brought on, the first time that we played them, they did not have their entire team in Valdosta.
They didn't have the whole team.
So they were also on a run. They were like on a 5-game win streak when they came here to play us.
Yeah, again, hot team.
Let's also just say, as everyone knows, it's hard to beat the same team twice, let alone 3 times, okay? So let's also mention our losses. A lot of our 3-0 losses or 0-3 losses were away. And it's tough. And it's tough because we all know that playing not in the complex, it's tough. It's tough to win. It is, no matter what. But I want you to pull up they were on a streak.
Christian Brothers here from October 30th.
Oh my.
A 6-game win streak.
Oh my gosh.
A 6-game win streak that they took into the conference tournament against Union, AUM, Montevallo, Huntsville. Mind you, Montevallo and Huntsville were 2 of the top teams in the conference. Then West Al, then Mississippi College, and then they took that here. Then they took that here to Valdosta. In which, one more thing I want to add on: Christian Brothers had not made the conference tournament in 8 years.
Oh yeah, I remember talking
Their
about that.
last conference tournament appearance was in 2018. That is 8 years. That is 8 years, right? Did I get that right?
I couldn't even tell you.
Or is 2016? I'm sorry, it was 2016. Their last conference tournament appearance was 2016. They nearly went a decade.
I was like, that's almost a decade.
They nearly went a decade without making the conference tournament.
So honestly,
when I said we
congrats to y'all.
Yeah, when I honestly said that we faced destiny, we faced a team with destiny on their side with a first-year head coach, mind you.
Yes.
With a first-year head coach. I mean, if you know sports, that's tough
to do. You gotta have chemistry not only with your teammates but with your coach as well.
Yeah,
because you're putting all your trust in your coach.
That is the toughest thing. And again, I'm not one to glaze Christian Brothers, because honestly, when do we ever on this show?
Right.
But Christian Brothers, credit to them. They had several multi-game losing streaks at the beginning of conference play. They were looking like they weren't even going to make the tournament until they went on that run. And that's when it really clicked for them. And then unfortunately Christian Brothers lost to Huntsville in the next round, which honestly surprising nobody.
Yeah.
Kind of surprising nobody. But for this volleyball team, this was a team that I felt it, especially as a commentator calling games from up in my little booth. It was something special to go through all those home games. And to see the progression of this team evolve, and to see how they change their dynamics on the court, how we saw players get put in the new positions, some players taken out of positions. So I remember beginning of the season we started with Haley Holder and Ava Quinches and maybe Amy Negron at the libero spot, and then for a while it was just Quinches. Then we went back to Negron, and she burst onto the scene defensively. But then you also have players who you knew looked like they were going to make an impact, but just need a little more time to find their space. Primary example here, Macy Brown.
Yes.
Macy Brown.
She killed it.
Her last 10 games, actually her last 5 games here, I'll read it right here. 15 kills, 14 kills, 13 kills, 13 kills. Had before the Christian Brothers game, she only had 7 in that one. But prior to that, had 4 straight games of 10 plus kills. She didn't have any of that except for the beginning of the season, where she played more of just a back row. She just played more back row. But then as she got more opportunities to play more of a 6 rotation, she burst onto the scene. She really burst onto the scene and contributed offensively when we were down Eva La Rochelle when she was out for a while, with probably struggling with injury. But then, Madison Kilmer as a freshman making an immediate impact. Ava Young locking down the middle as well, that veteran experience. Amy Negron on the back row. Kinsley Timmons also burst onto the scene before her unfortunate injury that took her out for a couple weeks. And then Ava Quenches, great server. Absolutely great server. And then Eva La Rochelle on the front end. But we also have to talk about Asia Montagnani as a junior outside hitter coming from Italy and coming in and making an impact, hitting on both pins. She was phenomenal. She was actually second on the team in kills at 227. Ooh, just one behind Sabrina Onsens, who had 228. And then of course Katie Kallenberger and Avery Mullins. This was a very, very special team to call. And I don't know how well you guys are going to be able to see it, but this volleyballer here is not just a typical volleyball. I just want to take a little moment to share this here. This is a special signed volleyball that this team gave me at the end of the game against Christian Brothers, all with hand signed messages from every player and all the coaches, as well as a big thank you to me for covering their games and being quintessentially being the voice of Blazer volleyball for the past 3 seasons, going all the way back to public address and the Stonewalls. That's always a good thing. I love Stonewall. I love Stonewall so much, and I'm so glad that I've helped make an impact on this team, that they do something like this. But to be fair as well, like I said in that Instagram video, they provide me the game. They provide the game. I just call. And so they give me the exciting moments for me to call, and for me to really put my voice to really give my sign sealed and delivered. But this team, man, even with all the seniors leaving, with that being Sabrina, that being Katie, Sabrina Onsens, Katie Kallenberger, Ava Young, Kennedy Hairston, along with Macy Brown and Ashton Middleton, this team's going to be in good hands. This team's going to be in good hands next year. When you have Maddie Kilmer, Mia Verger potentially stepping up into that second libero role, Amy Negron, Haley Holder, Kinsley Timmons, Ava Quenches, Eva La Rochelle, Asia Montagnani. This is going to be a high-powered team. It's also going to remind me a lot of the 2023 team. I think that is definitely their ceiling. Is there any more comments you guys want to add about this volleyball team before we take a break?
I was wanting to say, I know we said we think the reason why their record at the beginning was 1-9 is because, actually I forgot, but isn't majority of this team freshmen?
Most
transfers?
Of them are juniors. Most of them are juniors and sophomores.
Really?
There are a handful of transfers though.
Yeah. Several transfers. But a lot of sophomores and juniors on this team currently. I think we only have 2 true freshmen, that being Maddie and Kinsley. Those are only two true freshmen.
They should definitely be a stronger team.
They should be. They got a great foundation right now, and that team always pulls through.
If they get that, if they create that better tight bond, they're going to be monsters next year.
Yeah, they already have a year under their belt. They have a year under their belt, and I think one of the best parts is that now they've experienced what it's like to hit the lows.
Yes,
they've experienced the lows. So now they know, and Coach Suha knows very well. Because I remember last year as well. There was a time where that team wasn't doing particularly well, and then pressure made diamonds. They pulled themselves up. And if there's anything Coach Zual knows how to do, it's bring your teams back from the depths.
I was going to say, she's a great coach when it comes to, I think reinstilling that motivation within her players because, like I said, I mean, being a transfer and even the true freshman, like, it's different. And theoretically, it's kind of like you are, I want to say, a freshman again in a new environment. And you're still trying to find your place in this team. And it's still like, okay, well, my old school wasn't the best fit for me. So is this one going to be, you know? So it's like, it's a battle that you have to really find and pull through. And I think that this team, they did, and it took them a little bit of time, but it shows that resilience in this team towards the end of their season. So I am looking forward to next season with this group of girls.
I'll definitely be staying in tune. I'll be watching on Flow College despite their freaking subscription prices.
I know, it's crazy.
Ridiculous.
That's neither here.
If you're listening, let's fix that, okay?
Please.
And again, Gulf South Conference, fix the tournament. Fix the bracket.
Thanks.
I'll leave it at that. Stop gifting West Florida titles, but also at the same time, West Florida is also crazy good. So they're also crazy.
Can we make it a little bit harder for them?
They should work
the difficulty slider a little bit.
Yeah.
Up the difficulty slider a little bit. That just be fantastic. So with that being said, we're going to take things into a short break. We're going to come back with basketball and football. Football, a really surprise ending to what was a tumultuous season, to say the least. And basketball, we're going to recap their most recent games as they get ready to start conference play. Actually, as a matter of fact, they've already started conference play, but we're still going to go ahead and talk about it. You're tuning into the Valdosta State Sports Podcast by the students about the Blazers for Blazer Nation. We'll be right back after this.
That they will discuss and they will state your case to the viewing public.
I would like to go last if this is an option.
All right. That's fine. We were getting ready to do a draft for it.
Let's be honest. I'm going third.
No, because that would make you last in this.
What?
So you're actually going,
what?
Yo,
you can't do that, Chris.
It would make it like if Jack
Chris,
would
there's
be third.
4 of us here.
I'm not going right now. I'm not.
Welcome to math class.
I'm not going. I don't have one right now. I might, but I don't have one.
So you're just officiating.
I gave you a
I'm just
topic. I could have
officiating.
swore I gave you a topic. But all right.
Give him a topic.
You got to participate too,
I'll
Chris.
tell you what. You want the Belichick topic? You can have it. Okay, I got another one. So you can take the Belichick.
All right, and welcome back, everyone, to the Season 5 finale of the Inferno Blazer Sports Show. Ansley, Electra, Deontay, and I here as well. We are getting ready to move on into basketball season. Hoop season is finally around. And I know, Electra, you're excited for that. Deontay, I know you're excited for
Yes,
that.
I am.
I'm excited as well.
Me too, everyone.
I'm excited as well. That means I get to go on the road with the teams
Yes.
again and call more Blazer basketball on the radio. Please tune into those. I would really appreciate it. Please. Anyways, we're going to move on here into we're going to start with the women's side first. Starting 3-3 on the year so far. Taking most recently a win to start conference play against the University of West Alabama, 85-68. But prior to that, had a 3-game skid. They lost to Georgia Southwestern, Lynn University, and number 9 in the nation, Embry-Riddle, only losing to them by 3. But started this season with back-to-back victories against Eckerd and Palm Beach Atlantic. So just going over these last couple games. I want to go ahead and just give it out to the panel first. What's been your guys' impression so far through these first 6 games as we begin conference play? Let's go and get it started.
I've only been able to attend 1.5 games. But so far, I don't know, because it's like I'm watching the game and I realize that what both teams could really work on is their free throws.
Yeah, free throw
shooting. Like when I played back in high school, that was our biggest problem too. Our biggest problem was not making. We'll either make neither or we will make 1 out of 2, and my coach was not having that. So when I tell you, next day at practice, we were starting with free throw drills and we were not ending until everybody did what they needed to do. So I feel like that's the biggest problem with both teams.
So far the women's side is shooting 70% from the free throw line. Last season they shot 64.
I'll take it though.
Last year
I'll take
they
it.
shot 64. So right, so at least through 6 games, you have a little bit of improvement.
It's definitely irritating. The Georgia Southwestern game, they lost by 3. They definitely should have won that game. They went 8 for 17 from the free throw line.
Yeah, that's 3 points.
That's unacceptable. Even though they did score, 30 points in the fourth quarter, it's a great run. But when you're going 8 for 17 in the free throw line, and that's the way you lose the game,
that's just tough.
Yeah,
because free throws are tough. Extra point.
That's
right. It's like they're like give me points. Like
they call it the charity stripe for a reason.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think my take on this is I think the program is rebuilding. I mean, this is Chandler's second year as the head coach. And
that is true. This is our first true recruiting class.
Yeah, exactly. This is our first true team that's hers. And I think that, with these newcomers and transfers, there seems to be a pattern here. A lot of the VSU teams here I think it's a rebuild year for a lot of them. And a lot of people don't like that term, but it's the truth. I mean, soccer, volleyball, like we all hit lows, but we all bounce back because that's the standard here at VSU. And I think that, especially for this basketball team, just from what I've seen, I think that with the transfers and the newcomers this year, there's a lot of depth, but the dynamic is changing a little bit for the better. And I think that, it's still so early on to kind of like really gauge how this team is going to be. But I think that there is some change that needs to happen for this team to show up in conference form, right?
We still have plenty of time. To get through all that, kind of get those kinks worked out here with I believe. Oh, excuse me. What was I going to say? The women's team have 4 more games at least here of this year before they move on into 2026. But speaking of all these new players here, I'm just going to list them off here. Casey Dems, Sade Rumpf, Kamaya Pryor, Alina Martin, Rebecca Souverain, Jada Williams just recently signed on, Rayanne Eccleston, Alina Sapalak, and Kendall Dykstra. That is a lot of new. That is a lot of new faces.
Yes.
So yeah, because I'm at both. I'm watching because Blessed Sports Media. I'm watching. I've never seen half of these women, half of these men, and I've been with Blessed Sports Media recording these games for the last 3 years. And like Ansley said earlier, the thing is, all these teams. Okay, so y'all know how football has summer conditioning.
Yeah.
These other teams don't have that, so I feel like they're just trying to build their connection when their season not even when the season first starts, when the semester or the school year first starts. That is not enough time before their season starts for them to actually have a sister brotherhood before playing these other teams. So I feel like that's where most of that's a good bit where the problems are coming from, because you need a good strong foundation. You need that good chemistry in order to play with these other people that you basically just met.
Yeah, and that comes with time.
Yeah,
from my or at least from my best understanding with it, I'm always more to give benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
I'm always more to give benefit of the doubt. So that's gonna be tough.
You remember in September for our sports writing class, we had interviewed Coach Chan.
That is right. We also have an extra member on that as well. Be sure to check that out as a preview for this season if you don't know what's all going on. If you haven't met Coach Murkison, but go on, Deontay.
One of the questions that were asked, I think it was from you. You had asked what were the players that really stood out. And she talked about, freshman Kendall,
Dykstra.
The transfers, Kamaya, Alina, Sade, all of these players. She talked about how they really stood out before the beginning of the season.
Right. And we also have to remember from last year, our main production and we really lost him last year was Kirsten Nelson. She was our top scorer. Nilsson was our top scorer last year. We also lost Victoria Canasio, incredible forward depth, along with India Jordan. We also lost India Jordan. She was a great shooter. Had great leadership.
Yes.
So what we bring back on for this year? We bring back Ari Hicks. We bring back Aaron Whalen. Bring back Amaya Broadus, and we bring back Bella Hopkins. Hopkins is injured right now. But for Amaya Broadus, this is, as a sophomore, this is really the peak time to explode out into the scene, to be that next forward, be that next big forward, and she really has so far. That trio of forwards between Broadus, Eccleston, and Souverain. they don't play like traditional bigs.
Yeah.
No,
they don't
don't.
play fives. They don't play like fives. They play like fours.
Yes.
Yeah. And each of them have their own way they like to play.
Yes.
And I think that that's really important to kind of note because obviously, it's the same position, but they bring their personality when they come to play. And I really like watching Rebecca play. She's a fun one to watch.
But you also got to talk about all the guards as well. I mean, we're going to talk about guards. This team is obviously mostly comprised of guards, but this is a very undersized team. This is a very undersized, fast.
They are.
A fast-moving team as well.
Yes.
I mean, which also I mentioned, Casey Debs coming in as a freshman. She is a buzzard. She's literally a buzzard.
She's annoying. She's annoying on that court, and I know people do not like playing against her.
I feel like that's what we need on the team.
And that's to your point earlier. This kind of dynamic and identity shift from at least from what I've seen from last year. Last year felt very like almost like down to the basics, prototypical basketball on the offensive end. I mean, I know. Yes, you have these players who have already been in a system, playing with Coach DeAndre Shermer before she left. But this year really feels like this is a faster, more loose team. Like they're being let loose to
some
run
creativity,
to run wild and amok.
Loose sometimes.
That
we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that.
The turnovers can kind of amount.
That's another thing we got to talk about.
But we're gonna shift our focus more into this most recent matchup against West Alabama to start conference play. A convincing 85-68 win where the Lady Blazers had a 48-24 lead heading into halftime. But man, oh man, despite the fact that the Lady Blazers shot 52% from the floor, 308 from beyond the arc, that third quarter was sluggish.
It was scary.
Yeah, it was.
The main thing, really, it was a lot of careless turnovers.
Yes.
Yeah, it was, they're going up down the court, just throwing the ball. I'm like,
yes.
But that's something that coach needs to look at and be like, okay, this is what we need to work on when we head into tougher teams. Because a conference win's a conference win. You want that, no matter who it's against. Because this team can go on a run and be top 2 in conference. Honestly, it's a good team. And I think that this game really showed Coach Chan, like, hey, this is what we need to work on. Right. We've got all this creativity. We've got these players that want to go out there and play. But this is what we need to tighten up, like you said.
Right.
Because there are some things that this team needs to definitely get tighter so that there's not those gaps in the game.
I'm never mad at a big getting the rebound, but I personally don't think, because I tried this in high school when I played, I don't think a big should. Yes, sometimes let the big take the ball down, but nowhere past half court.
Yeah.
Once you get to half court, pass it to a PG.
You gotta get that to your guard.
Yes, because I think that's where the turnovers are coming from. Some of the bigs are trying to dribble down the court, knowing that that's not what they do on a daily basis, and they're turning the ball over. Like these shorter PGs
I hear where you're going.
They're coming through what's the word? Not snatching, but tipping the ball, and they're getting these easy layups from underneath the bigs.
In which in that case as well, I also got to give credit to West Alabama for adjusting defensively. Adjusting defensively in that third quarter, really bringing on the pressure on the backcourt, bringing on a lot of backcourt pressure defensively, trying to pressure our inbounders, and pressure the ball getting up the court. So that was definitely a good adjustment by West Alabama to really pressure us getting up court. But VSU responded in their own kind in the fourth quarter by tightening down. They tightened down. They limited more of those turnovers and really got back into their flow, got back into their offensive flow in that fourth quarter to again lead them to an 85-68 win. A really good start for conference. A really good start for conference play. I mean, Alina Martin burst out to the scene. 19
Right, that was a game for her. That was a good game. This is the first game that I've really seen her pop out and play the basketball she knows. Like
that's crazy efficiency. Yeah. 19 points,
right, that's what I'm
under
saying.
10 shots.
And, tell me if I'm wrong. Has she really made that much of an impact so far this season?
I think
I don't know. I really don't know from the top of my.
From that game, yes. From that game, I would absolutely say yes.
Like earlier on,
transfer from Western New Mexico. She hasn't started a game.
That's what I'm saying. I haven't seen too much of her. I haven't.
This is definitely the highlight of her season so far.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I got to give it to Coach Chan. You know, again, Jalen. Right. You know, we did an interview with her. She talked about the main thing, like she really wanted to focus on was rebounding. Yes. They out-rebounded West Alabama 45-30.
That's huge.
Wow. Really? That is big.
You got a rebound and just go and also seeing that they're averaging 37.5 per game, out-rebounding their opponents on average by 4.
It feels like game rebounding, like everybody is boxing out. Like there was a game recently, I've seen R. Hicks, she had about 7 or 8 boards, and she's a 5'5"
point guard.
A 5'5" point guard.
She is a point guard.
I love that for her.
She gets around too. Like I love watching those. Like I was like that when I was on the field. I was annoying because I'm always running around. That's what I see from her and Casey Demps. But I also want to highlight Erin Whalen.
A double machine.
She is a double
machine.
She is. Let's just start off by saying she's a great person, but she is also a well-rounded player, and I really look up to her because she's a guard, right? Yeah. And but she plays so well offensively and defensively. She's also like, she's not a small girl, right? But she is still able to go in line to end line and still defend how she needs to defend. She knows that she's got a place to be and she's going to be there. And I actually did an interview with her after one of the first games this season, and she told me that the way that they practice helps them prep for their close/overtime games. She was like, last year, she's like, I remember being in situations where we were in overtime, and she's like
5 of those.
Yes, and she was like, I don't ever want to be in that position again. So she's like, if I have to take that extra sprint, if I have to make that extra run because my teammate's not there, I'm gonna do it to save my whole team. And she was telling me that those games, that those close and those overtime games, have really created the player that she is now.
Absolutely.
And I think that it's really showing this season. And she's a great player. And tell me if I'm wrong. Coach Deandra also recruited her, right? But didn't take her with chat.
Erin didn't go to chat. This is Erin's 3rd year. So she played under the Coach Murphyson
first year.
Last year that's her 2nd year, and then under Coach Shermer, under Coach Shermer, Erin's 1st year.
And she's proven something right now. That's all I gotta say. She is a player who I know that whole team trust her with the ball.
She plays really smooth. I love how she really controls the pace. She was 2nd in GSC in rebounding at almost 9. Yeah, I think it was 8.7, and it feels like this year she's probably gonna end up doing the same thing. Like,
I mean, there's a reason she was tabbed all GSC preseason.
Yeah.
There's a reason she was tabbed all GSC preseason. Wow, I almost flubbed that up saying it the 2nd time. Wow, I love talking. This is my job, by the way. This is what I do. But anyways, moving things on over to the men's team. A bit of a hot start for the men's basketball team so far, despite, and I know I've said this plenty of times because again, it just seems to be the theme with all of our teams. As Ansley said, a lot of rebuilding, a lot of turnover, and again, a lot of roster turnover. But for the men's basketball team, they might actually be one of the few teams to really break that status quo, as they brought back a lot of their faces that played solid minutes last year. We're talking Malik Leach, Peter McKee, Lucas Brown Jr., Ethan Pyers, MJ Jones, Andrew Haynes, not Samarian, Tony Green Jr. and Drew Mills. That was a stud. That was a great team to build off of with only 2 players or 3 players leaving, that being Carlos Hart, who went to Division I, Eastern Michigan. Yep. Braxton Williams, who went to the Citadel, also D1, and then JC Clossy, who graduated. So we only lost 3 guys. We lost 3 guys, but we still return a core who is already marinated in this system that worked fantastically last year.
To the point where they can lead to go beyond where they were last year.
And it's a great model for all these new guys who come in. It seems like they've really picked. They have. We're talking Devon Rainey coming in from South Georgia State, Jose Coelho coming from Maryland Eastern Shore, Blaze Wallace, again double machine from Albany State, Samarian Bond, dude. If I see Samarian Bond, I do not want to be matched up with him. I am not gonna lie.
No, dude, is that number 11?
He's a playmaker.
21.
He's a playmaker.
Transferred from USC Aiken, so he's coming from the Peach Belt, so he knows a thing or two about playing in the South.
He was kind of playing a little dirty last night.
Michael Batchelor coming as well from West Virginia Wesleyan, and then Caden Johnson, a freshman from Valdosta. Rounding out this team, are really still playing kind of the same way that they did last year with the press defense and the quick running offense, able to hit threes. It's been a sight to see so far through the first couple games of the season. As I go here to quickly recap, back-to-back wins against Edward Waters and Florida Tech, a loss to Middle Georgia State, which I'm going to talk about a little bit here once we get to that game, because I got a story to tell with that one. And then back-to-back wins against Middle Georgia and Embry-Riddle, but unfortunately falling in their first conference game against West Alabama. So just like how we started the women's team, we're going to start the men's team. I'll give it out to the panel here. What are your guys' thoughts so far and your impressions on this men's team?
Okay, so for not only
Electra's
the men's
got
team,
tea. Be ready for this. Be ready for this.
So not only for the men's team, but the women's team, I feel like, first off, the women's team, I want to say this before we went over to the men's team, but it's fine. The women's team, I feel like we could have stayed up 20 points the whole game if they would have just locked down the big center on their team, because
Haley Nichols, 44.
She's a monster, and
she can do everything.
She's better than Shaq. But anyways, and so with the men's team, I feel like, so women's team, it was like, I knew it was her. It was another girl. So it was like three women on the women's team that I feel like if they would have closed on, like if they would have played men, they would have stayed up 20 points the whole game. For the men, it was the tall dude, number 2. He was taking the ball out every time.
He was one. If you're talking about West Alabama, if you're talking about the West Alabama game, I can't remember. It was Rashawn Frederick.
No, this is the women's actually.
Oh.
I have the box score here. You're talking about Rashawn Frederick,
the one that was shooting threes the whole time.
That was Elliot. That was Elliot Tulip. He hit 4 for 7.
So
number
him,
0.
the short dude with the locks.
That's BJ Brown.
And
BJ
then,
Brown Jr.
Anyways, so I know it was them two, but it was probably like 1 or 2 more. If they would have played man on those 4 dudes the whole game, they could have won. We lost by what? Not 8 points last night
against West Al.
100 to 82.
Yes.
Or 92. We could have won that game if they would have played men on those 3-4 dudes.
Well, the thing is, they were playing. They were playing man.
Yeah.
They just found themselves in several situations where they had bad matchups.
And then sometimes they weren't blocking out.
Getting rebounds was incredibly important. Getting the boards where you needed them, which if anything,
because they were jumping.
I'm actually not entirely too sure if this is entirely accurate, because the official box score says that Valdosta State had 41 rebounds compared to West Alabama's 32. However, West Al had more pivotal rebounds. They had more important rebounds. At times when they needed to rebound, they got it.
Yes. Yeah.
They got it where they needed it. But kind of talking more holistically about the team so far, what's your guys' impressions?
I think with a veteran coach and with a solid core of players that are coming back with some new faces, like I said earlier, I'm gonna go against what I said earlier just with this men's team, because they're not gonna change the way that they play.
No,
I don't think
they never will, and I don't think they should either. I completely agree. But the problem is with these newbies, you've gotta catch on to the way that they play quickly, and you've got to be good at it. Yes. And Coach Mike told me that, and he's like, I interviewed Ethan Pyers after the Middle Georgia game, after they came here.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And he went off and
career high in points he scored in that.
Exactly. And so I interviewed him, and he told me, I said, what do you think is different about this season compared to last year? And he said, the biggest thing that I'm trying to remind myself is that I'm supposed to be here. All of these other guys are supposed to be here, and Coach Mike is telling me that the way that we play instills confidence. And he's like, last year I was not confident, and like we said earlier, he was playing behind some really great players who went on to do great things. And he's like, this year, he's like, I've got to step into a role, and that confidence is already coming with me. He's like, the problem is though, and Coach Mike told me this in an interview, post-game interview after that same game. He told me that the problem right now that they're trying to gauge is still balancing that offensive attack that they love to play and that they're great at, but also being able to defend. Because if they press them so hard and they leave, their half of the court wide open, that's a recipe for disaster. So he told me that they're trying to practice just instilling that fitness in those players. And you got to be fit with the way that they play. But he was like, we don't want you to score, so we have to be able to defend like we know how to. And he's like, we're still trying to figure that out. He also told me that, that, like I said, they're still trying to balance that, but that the way that they play is tough. And he's like, I know that these guys they come into practice day in, day out, and they know that they have to meet the standard that Coach Mike wants them to play. And they're still trying to figure that out. But I also want to point out some players to watch out for. Ethan Pyers, MJ Jones, Drew Mills coming back from he's a key return player.
Yes.
He was named preseason, GSE after a strong season. And I have some of the stats right here. He had 14.2 points, I guess, per game, 34 3 points, and 23 steals and 20 blocks. That was just last year.
Let me pull him up here. What he's at.
So that's a great player right there.
Averaging 23 minutes a game. Currently averaging 13.2 points per game.
Him and Devon Rainey
Him and Devon Rainey are tied in points per game so far. And speaking of this Blazer team, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys all scoring 10 points per game. That have played at least 5 games. They have played at least 5 games so far. So we have consistent guys each scoring over 10 points a game so far. Now, granted, again, we've only played 6 games, so that's going to mellow out. But let me just give you a list of those guys real quick. Drew Mills, Devon Rainey, each at 13 a game. MJ Jones at 12.8. Blaze Wallace at 12.7. Malik Leach at 11.2. And Samarian Bond at 10.8. And I completely forgot about Peter McKee at 10.5. So actually make that 7 Blazers.
So isn't Tony's hurt, right?
Yeah,
Tony and Mike?
Tony and Lucas.
And Lucas. And yesterday as well, Coach Mike told me that he's really waiting for those guys to get back. And I think they're pivotal pieces. Yeah, he was telling me that
Lucas is a great shooter.
Yeah, Lucas is hurt right now, has his arm broken or his wrist broken. And then the other one has some academic problems going on right now. So he's trying to get them back in the loop so that they can come out and be those pieces that he needs, especially heading into some some more
conference play.
Tougher conference play.
Tony was our like dominant rebounder last season, wasn't he?
Yeah, for being 6'7", definitely gotta be. It was him and LD. It was him and LD Shigano who transferred out. LD standing at 6'8".
6'8". No, he was 6'9". 6'9".
Where did he go to?
Clark, Atlanta.
He went to Clark, Atlanta. Okay, yeah. LD and I were cool.
Yeah, we were too.
LD and I were really cool. He was really friendly. He was a really good. He was a really good guy to talk to there. But again, for Tony Green, standing at 6'7", you definitely got to be able to get your rebounds, especially when your other 2 forwards. Wallace is also 6'7". Wallace is also 6'7", but he plays more like a 3.
Yeah, I was
he does.
Wallace plays more like a small forward. It's really Drew. It's really Drew and Samarian who play like true bigs. Well, Drew obviously, because that's what he's played. That's what he's played his entire life. He literally told me that.
Drew is a big.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Drew's a big.
He don't give me big, but okay.
Wait, how tall is Drew? Like
6'5".
Not
both him and Samarian are 6'5".
Not even worried about his height. It's just like he's all around. Yeah. He's an all around player. So
he plays more like a 4.
He's versatile.
He plays more like a 3-4 to me.
Yeah, like a 3-4. To be fair, especially in college basketball, you don't really see true 5s.
Yes, exactly.
The only one that I can really bring up that has like significant relevance was Daniel Saylor from last year. But that was only because he's 6'11".
Saylor, yeah.
So because Daniel Saylor was 6'11".
Yeah, he was on Huntsville, right?
Yeah, he was on Huntsville, and
where did he go?
He graduated.
Oh, he's done.
Yeah. Which another thing I want to talk about with the Gulf South Conference now being the way it is. Huntsville lost all their guys.
Right.
Huntsville lost all their guys.
I talked to Coach Nate Nowicki too, and he told me that he's like, this is going to be a surprise, but that this team is shooting 14 threes on average each game.
But they're still shooting 14 threes on average. Probably highlighted the most by Blake. I don't remember Campbell still there. He graduated or not? But Quentin Tolles. Quentin Tolles coming in from Kentucky State. He has been on fire for Huntsville so far. But the other team to watch out for is Montevallo. The other team to watch out for is Montevallo.
They're another team that's great at everything.
They're a team that Montevallo is a team that's tabbed to win the GSC this year. Valdosta State predicted to finish third, I believe it was, behind Huntsville.
I'll take it.
So this is going. So Gulf South Conference basketball is going to be fun.
It is. I'm excited. I love it.
I'm definitely going to be tuned in.
Yes.
He also to imagine as well, you know, if we're going to talk about other teams as well, Delta State, they lost their two big guys. They lost KB Brooks. They lost Chris Terrell. So they lost their dynamic duo. Mississippi College, they lost Rashad Bolden. They also lost their head coach. Mississippi College lost their head coach and Rashad Bolden. Their main guys. Montevallo has pretty much their entire returning core from last year coming back. Huntsville's still on the rise. Huntsville's still on the rise, looking to keep things going. And then you have all the sleeper teams. You know, West Alabama. You know, West Alabama who just came to Titletown and just beat us. Just beat us by 8, but it was still, you know, a game that either team could have won.
Right, and just another keynote, Coach Mike Helfer also told me last night in an interview that he thinks that this West Alabama team is an NCAA tournament team.
I with the way they played,
he told me, he said they will be in the conversation at the end of this year. He was like, take my word, and I'm like, okay.
And that's always a great thing. That's always a great thing, like a great kind of just like tip of the cap.
Right,
to say like based on how a team plays. And I know it's early in the season, but to already be having those conversations now, for some it is a bit foolish. Someone is a bit foolish to kind of make those predictions early, but seeing it on the floor and seeing how it's played, that's huge.
This early on, this first game, and I trust Helfer's judgment. I mean, and this just goes to show the GSC. No matter what sport you're playing, no matter what team you're playing, you are going to be in a tough.
It's going to be
battle.
tough for every.
Yep. It is.
And speaking of, as we transition on to football here. I know we only have 4 teams in the conference, but my goodness, were those last 3 weeks of the regular season not absolute cinema to watch?
We turned heads, for sure.
Without a doubt.
It was a roller coaster. It was really a roller coaster.
Now that's not to dispel from the fact that, again, Valdosta State went 6-4. In case you have been living under a rock and you're tuning into if you're tuning into this show to know what's going on, I'll give you the quick rundown. Valdosta State went 6-3 in the regular season. Went 6-3 in the regular season. Started incredibly sluggish under a first-year head coach, and I believe 70 new players.
Gosh, brand new team.
Pretty much starting with a whole
brand new team.
Started week 0 the win over Clark Atlanta. Then we lost to CIAA champion Johnson C. Smith.
Really?
in the second round. Wow, second week I meant to say. Then we, of course, it's Shawan. Do I need to say more?
Yeah.
Do I need to say more? Then we got shut out by Pembroke, 31-0.
First time. That was like first time in like 38 years.
The first home game too at that.
What was it? Do you know that stat, Jalen? It was like first time since like 19.
It's been a long time.
It was
since
a
the
long
Blazers have
time.
been shut out. It's been a long time since the Blazers have been shut out. Then we lost against Lenore Rhine. They were also a really tough team on Pink Out. Then we lost against the Citadel, marking 3 straight losses against the Division I FCS opponent. But then when the Blazers came back to Titletown, and I swear to you, it was the red uniforms. The red uniforms gave this team power as they went on to beat the Conference Carolinas champions in North Greenville, 35-24 on homecoming.
Period.
Then 3 straight upsets against West Alabama, Delta State, and West Florida. I don't care what the Gulf South Conference says if we supposedly had an ineligible player against West Alabama that for some reason will only count as a conference loss, but will still count as an overall win in the record book. I don't care because we beat West Al 45-35, sentencing them to 0-3 in conference play. Honestly, they're my pick for D2 Division II's biggest disappointment of the year. I'm not gonna lie about that. Then we beat Delta State literally by Deus Ex Machina.
That was the craziest.
We were down there together.
The craziest ending of the game.
Insane, man.
If we have videos of it, I'll play it right. I'll play it right here. You just gotta see this.
Yes, no, that was insane.
And then just tie things all in a neat little bow for the champion for the game that decides the Gulf South Conference title against number 3 West Florida, undefeated, number 3 in the nation. We're looking like one of the best teams in Division II.
Period.
And how did this one end? On a game-winning overtime field goal by Matt Rollader. Oh my God. Just thinking about that, because I remember this game was going on during a basketball game. This is going on during a basketball game. So we were all tuning in. We were all watching
after the game. Coach Mike's down there with us, and we're all watching the game.
We're watching upstairs at the Blaze Sports Media booth. And then we all just collectively lose our minds when West Florida misses their field goal. And then we take ours. Which were just
wasn't like 52 yards or something.
It was
42.
Like a 40. I think it was like
40 something.
40 something. Yeah.
It was a 40 something yarder field goal. But before we talk more about us, we're gonna send things off to Sawyer really quick to give us our little bit of input.
So looking back on Valdosta State football in 2025, we came into the season with a lot of unknowns. There were a lot of question marks there, and especially new coaching staff, a bunch of new faces on the team. We didn't know who was going to be leading us at quarterback until the first snap, and it ended up being Harris Boyd, redshirt freshman, transferring from Memphis. Excuse me, and you could just tell right away it was going to be a rebuilding year. In that first game with Clark Atlanta over in Birmingham, the offense struggled to find rhythm. The defense bended. They didn't break a whole lot in that first game, but they bent a lot. And we saw that in subsequent games as well, up to a 2-4 start to the season. We got that win against Clark Atlanta. Went on the road the next week, and we lost to Johnson C. Smith. Went on the road again. Fairly certain it was to Chowan, got a big win there. But then it was just a rough 3-game stretch after that. We lose to UNC Pembroke at home, shut out 31-0. That was horribly surprising. And that's not something that I expected. I mean, especially considering if you look at that game with UNC Pembroke, us having 0 points was such an anomaly. A lot of turnovers in that game that set UNC Pembroke up in wonderful field position. That was the kind of game that should have been 14-14 or maybe even like 7-7 if you actually looked at it. But the final score is 31-0. And then we had that loss to Lenore Rhine. Very disappointing loss there. That one was pretty disappointing to me, especially because we had the lead late, and then again just a couple of really costly turnovers is what doomed us in that one. And then finally, final loss of the regular season on the road against the Citadel Division I team. We weren't supposed to win that game. I'm fairly certain it was a 31-14 or 38-14 loss. Put up a good fight for a little while in that game, but we just, we couldn't stop Old Dominion's run game. Not Old Dominion, Citadel's run game. And that kind of just did us in there. We struggled against the run, though, for most of the season. That's something that VSU has struggled with the last couple of years, the run game. But after that, we made a change. We put Jamison Holcomb in at quarterback, and we pretty much immediately saw results. Got a good win, fairly dominant win over North Greenville at home. Then West Alabama comes to town, and after a valiant second half effort for West Alabama, making it close late, came within a score. We ended up pulling away and beat West Alabama at home, effectively eliminating them from playoff contention as they went winless in the Gulf South. Then Delta State came to town, and this time it was VSU that had to make a second half comeback, and we did. Second half comeback it was great. I was there. I was bouncing around up in the stands. I couldn't sit for the entire fourth quarter. I'm pretty sure I stood the entire fourth quarter. I could not sit down. That game was amazing, start to finish, the kind of game you dream about. That pass, game-winning touchdown with, I believe, 9 seconds left in the game, and then the interception to seal it after that, essentially eliminating Delta State from playoff contention in that game. And then finally, the big one, going on the road to West Florida and pulling out an overtime win against the number 3 team in the country with arguably the best offense in the country, a Harlan Hill finalist, and Marcus Stokes at quarterback. The kind of game that, whenever you watch it, it was a weird game. A lot of weird calls. And a lot of those calls ended up going VSU's way, which felt kind of nice. We don't really see that a whole lot. But they did in that game. And watching this team start out how they did, but refused to quit. They refused to die. And they ended up running the table the rest of the way, winning the Gulf South outright, 3-0 in conference play. And people can say what they want about, there's only 4 teams in the Gulf South. It's not that hard to win that conference. Any conference that contains Valdosta State, West Florida, Delta State, and West Alabama, that's a hard conference. That's a tough conference. There's no way about that, especially when you look at West Florida, what they've done over the past few years. And then VSU, 2021 and 2024 national runner-up. That's no small feat, especially VSU also being a quarterfinalist in 2023 as well. So no small feats there. And this team, I'm just very proud of how this team rallied. And they never quit. They refused to die. And then, of course, we ended up making the playoffs because of that conference championship win. Ended up losing a close one to Albany State. And that's another game that got away from us. We had the lead for most of that game, but it ended up getting away from us at the end. And that one hurt to watch, but alas, proud of this team. And they're going to be back next year. They're going to be good again. They're going to be good. So I think we can expect to see them in the playoff field again next year. And, with Coach Craig getting another year to build and to really get a full off season under his direction from start to finish, I think that's gonna help out a lot. I'm excited to see what this Blazer team does.
So for how the regular season ended, 4 straight wins against Greenville, against West Al, against Delta State, against West Florida, put VSU in the playoffs. Now, let's be honest here. After that Citadel game, did anybody here think we were going to make it?
Honestly, I knew they had a bye week after North Greenville, right? Or was it in between the Citadel and North Greenville?
Between Citadel and North Greenville, yeah.
That was my first thought. I was like, they have a bye week. Hopefully a fire is lit under their ass right now, because honestly, they're not even just disappointing themselves. They're disappointing the largest fan base that is probably local to Valdosta. So it's like, I figured something would snap. And just another note here. Right. I did interview Coach Craig after the North Greenville game. And wait, what was the game after that? Sorry, actually.
West Al.
West Al, actually. I interviewed him after the West Al game because, they got that North Greenville win. That's great. Maybe they're on a roll right now. Maybe something's actually starting to click for them. And I asked him, I said, something clicked after that North Greenville game. What do you think it was for this team to be performing like they are? And he told me, he said, that bye week was everything for us.
Yeah.
And I was like, I completely agree. Now that you just upset the number 21 West Alabama team, what does this mean for you guys? He said it's the mindset. He's like, it's senior day next game. He's like, we're going to go out, play the football that we know. He's like, our receivers are doing great. He's like, defensively, we've got some players that are playing very consistent right now, and we just need that to continue.
And then that sure as hell continued against Delta State, even though it was looking incredibly perilous in that fourth quarter, in which I really kind of hate to be a negative Nancy about this, but trying to go for that kill shot on 4th and goal, that could have ended our season.
Could have been bad.
And honestly, we should have just taken the field goal. We should have just taken the field goal. I understand trying to go for the kill shot and taking the lead with little time on the clock, but for the love of God, please take the points.
Look, there seems to be, I mean, if you guys aren't seeing the pattern now, we don't have, nothing falls in our laps, okay?
Not at all.
So it's like, take the easy way out if you can take it, VSU Sports.
We've had a lot of blessings.
We have.
Especially the Delta State game. I think the thing that really changed the Delta State game was the starting quarterback getting injured, Cole Kirk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. By that point, honestly, if Cole Kirk played that entire game, we probably would have lost that one.
Mm-hmm.
But also, as much maligned as this defense was this season for very inconsistent play and giving up third downs, they clutched up against Delta State.
The second half of that game was, offense gave up a safety, but other than that, the defense shut out Delta State's offense that whole second half.
They did.
Yep.
Mark Robinson and Tyler Moorhead were two players that I definitely liked watching.
Mark the Land Shark.
I definitely liked watching them play this season, and it's not. When it comes to interviewing post game, it's like those players seem to get overlooked. They do, and I asked for interviews for a couple of them, and I think I interviewed Josh Brown, Deontay. I think you did too, right? And I can't fully remember what all he said, but I think he was just talking about how practice is allowing them to. Or he talked about the late night practices that they have. Yeah. And he's like, that really kind of puts us in an uncomfortable position.
Yeah.
And it replicates when we have these games. So.
Yeah. You got to learn to be uncomfortable when you find yourself in these situations.
Yeah.
We're talking about the last game that unfortunately ended the Blazers season against Albany State, number 13 in the nation, the SIAC champions. Man, this was winnable.
Yeah,
this was
100%
winnable in my opinion. And I'll leave my thoughts on this to just this. Yes, I know the fumbles. I'm well aware. I was at the game. I was the only one there with a sign. I was out of here like 4,000 fans. Nobody brought a sign to the game. I was the only one. But I'll leave it at this. You cannot give up 10 of 16 on third downs as defense and expect to win.
Absolutely not.
That honestly, I don't, disregarding the score and disregarding the offensive miscues, you cannot give up 10 of 16 on third down and expect to win. That's how I'm just going to boil down my thoughts to a simple sentence. That's what killed us. I think that's what killed us. I think honestly, failing to stop them on third down is what did us in more than what the offense did.
I will say that as well. I'm sorry. The fumble at the goal line was probably the most irritating thing
Would it
I've
take
seen.
anybody else?
You're first and goal. You can be up 2 scores against Albany State.
Right.
Instead of running the ball, they end up passing. Jameson fumbled. Albany State goes back down the field, score, and then I instantly knew then it's like, well, we have to go back down the field, score. Albany State got another stop. And then I was like, well, the game's over.
Albany State just had more moments where at times where they needed the clutch up, they did.
Yeah.
And just another thing as well, I mentioned the 10 of 13 third down conversions. Here's another thing I forgot to mention. Albany State had 31 first downs.
Oh my.
Compared to
31?
31 to 13.
Wow.
So here's the thing. If you didn't watch this game, you would have seen 31 first downs to 13 and thought, this is like a 30-point blowout. No, this game was only held to 5. This was a 5-point difference. And if you're having these extreme margins on the stat sheet and your game still ends within one score, I honestly don't know what to call it.
I would call it grit. I would call it grit, but I would also call it, okay, we kind of dug ourselves into this hole.
We dug ourselves into a hole.
Yeah, and then like we're slowly, but like kind of, we have like our head out of the hole, but then we get knocked down again because of our own problems.
Right.
So I call it grit, but that might not be the right word.
There's another thing though.
What'd you say?
Albany State had almost 600 total yards offense compared to
600 total yards. Would you see that?
530 total yards.
Yeah, 530 total yards. They had 40 more offensive plays than VSU did. They outrushed us. I mean, Albany State's rushing attack was really solid. They rushed for 266 while we only did 110. What are we saying? Okay, yeah. Again, this is the stat I was talking about. Valdosta State went 3 for 9 on third down. Albany State went 10 of 17 and held the ball for 41 minutes.
That's crazy.
41 minutes of game time.
How's that possible?
Yeah, how's that?
If you can't stop a third down. If you can't stop a third down, that's how teams hold on. That's how teams hold on to the ball. They keep drives going, and they just keep things rolling.
The second half, I really say the fourth quarter as well. I mean, Albany State was getting plenty of stops in the fourth quarter, and the VSU offense could not do anything at all.
They're SIAC champions for a reason.
Yeah.
I mean, I know people want to try to downplay the SIAC as this conference that's a lower tier.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. Let's stop. Even though for the last couple of years that definitely seemed like the case, and because honestly it kind of was.
Mm-hmm.
This year they've really stepped up. This year I think they've really stepped up. Now how that's kind of played out in the playoffs.
But didn't Albany State go on and beat? Albany State, they beat?
They beat Benedict. Albany State beat Benedict in the second round. So they're playing in the Super Region 2.
So they're still in.
They're still in.
Low key, just coming from like a sports, like having personal experience in college, that low key doesn't look too bad for us. Because if they're still going, let's say they actually make it. Okay, well, we got beat by the team that made it to the last round.
I said the same thing.
Only by 5 at that.
Exactly, by 5. So honestly, that's the best thing that could happen for us right now.
I said the same thing when Johnson C. Smith won the CIAA. When they won the CIAA, I remember I told Deontay, I'm like, all right, that loss is looking a lot better now.
Exactly.
That loss is a lot more palatable now because they won their conference and they had to beat Virginia Union, one of the best rushing schools probably in all of college football. I'm not gonna lie about that one. They are a running back factory. But just on a little bit of a side here. Speaking of the West Florida Argonauts, don't they have a certain guy who might be entering the transfer portal?
We talked about it the other day. Quarterback Marcus Stokes has entered the transfer portal.
He's officially done it.
No way.
Woo. Now I'm gonna make a little reminder here. Marcus Stokes is 0-2. He is 0-2 against VSU, by the way. I just want to make that known.
Yeah, no, keep that for sure.
Yeah, I just want to make that known. Now, whether he moves on to Division I, I think honestly he deserves it. I think he deserves to get a second chance.
And he may, and let's see how he does.
Yeah, because
that's a whole new battle, guys.
We see Trinidad Chambliss and how he's performing at Ole Miss right now.
So great. I love watching him, and I tell everyone I know that's the quarterback that we lost to.
Yeah,
but
that's the quarterback we lost to.
But it's cool because he's a star at Ole Miss right now, and that goes to show. That really, really goes to show how great of a QB he was,
and how good just Division II football is in general. Don't overlook D2 ball just because it's not the big, just because it's not big and flashy like Division I is. Because trust me, Division One, there in Division One FBS right now, there are several D2 teams that can go and beat some D1 teams.
Okay, I have a question.
I think I honestly believe that.
I completely agree. But what's that show called where it's like the two guys on College Game? It's not College Game Day, but
Division
it's just
One
two.
Rejects?
It might be, and they like foreshadowed the Ole Miss Mississippi State game. Didn't that just happen? Ole Miss played who?
Ole Miss played
Mississippi State.
Yeah.
And they did like a whole little excerpt on how Chambliss like won a D2 national championship last year.
I think that might have just been part of like
it was like
whoever the broadcast carrier was.
No, it was like an own show. Like it was these two guys and they had their own show before like the games where they call people, like you can call in on the show and talk about like.
Sounds like a radio show.
It sounds like Pat McAfee.
That's what it is. I think it's Pat. I should know that. I should know that.
Pat McAfee show.
And so they talked about how he was at Bear State and won a Division II national championship. I was like, can we get a Valdosta State mention in there, please?
Sucks. I will say I've seen it. I think when Georgia played Ole Miss, I think it was Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit. They brought up Trinidad Chambliss. And Fair State beating Valdosta State in the blowout. I was like,
they did. They said they beat Valdosta State.
I hate it. It brought me back. It gave me some PTSD. I'm like, it is what it is. Thankfully, I'm a big Georgia Bulldogs fan, so I was glad to see, Georgia beat Ole Miss. But
focusing back on to Valdosta State, this football team, I remember saying this on my way out of Albany State. I mean, this team has now given me reason to actually tune in next year.
Yep.
To see how much further they can develop and how much further they can continue to build on. Because like we said earlier, Ansel, you mentioned this earlier. I mean, this was supposed to be a rebuilding year. Right. This was supposed to be a rebuilding year, and we overachieved the hell out of it, making the national playoffs in back-to-back years, and we could have come out with a major upset. So it really gives me a lot of hope and excitement for what next season can offer. And I hope you guys at home feel the same as well. If you're a Blazer fan.
About I don't know the answer to this, but like the core that I can really think of, Dallas Robinson, right?
Yeah.
Are they the same? They're not the same person.
Dallas and Mark? No.
Okay, I didn't think so. Okay, so maybe cut that out. But Dallas Robinson, Mark Robinson, Tyler Moorhead, are they all graduating?
I do not remember. I can't remember all the scenes.
Because I just think about, I know we had a handful of seniors that graduated. Right. And so let's just assume that the Greg Hutchins is Greg
Hutchins, he's a senior.
Yeah. So like think about the core that has been here and them all leaving. Now it's definitely a rebuild year, right? Because you still have these people that have played 1 year at VSU. You probably have some of these new players, hopefully some transfers as well that come in that have to fill those spots of those key players. Yep. Seth Smith Jr.
The main
Jamison Holcomb.
Yeah, Holcomb is a junior. I mean, I'm confident in him.
I'm confident too
to be a really good quarterback for next year.
Let's also talk about how he wasn't QB1 at first.
Well, that. I can't. I don't think I can really talk. I don't think I can really talk more on that.
Well, I'm not saying like
right.
talk to. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. But let's talk about how he wasn't QB1, came in, stepped up when he had the chance to, and he did what the team needed.
Yeah,
he provided for everyone.
He went toe for toe with a lot of experienced Gulf South Conference quarterbacks: Spencer Arsenault, Cole Kirk, Marcus Stokes. He went toe for toe with some of the best GSC quarterbacks that have come through.
When you aren't the first pick and you come in and now you are, it's like you not only do you have to face adversity, but you're facing against these other star players who he knows are good. Who these people have been in this position before, they've played on this field before. Like, that's not only adversity, but that's just like resilience right there.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
He showed real leadership.
He did.
He got better each and every game.
I agree.
I know. I had interviewed him after one of the games, and he just talked about how he said improvement was really just all about experience, just stacking the days, executing the game plan, practice. That was really just
practicing.
Anyone have any final notes before we move on to the last segment? No? All right, so with that being said, we're going to take another quick break before we come back for the last goodbye messages for some of us, or just farewell messages until season 6. But just a reminder, you're tuning in to the Valdosta State Sports Podcast by the students about the Blazers for Blazer Nation. We'll be right back after this.
Yeah, we are live. I'm so glad you didn't say anything to cancel us early. And
I'm really glad
we have our
too.
favorite Professor Seibert here.
Dr. Seibert's here.
Yes, indeed.
Hey, I'm about to head out. I just want to remind you guys, make sure to lock up, close up when you guys.
We will do.
Yeah, we will do.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we are. Say
Yeah.
hello to the podcast.
Hello, what podcast is this?
This is the Inferno
The
Blazer
Inferno
Sports
Blazer
Show.
Sports Show, Dr.
Oh, hell
Seibert.
yeah. I love being on fire.
That's a clip, ladies and gentlemen.
So do we. That's why we do this.
Yeah, so Dr. Seibert, there's this thing.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Inferno Blazer Sports Show. Deontay, Jalen Ansley, and a lecturer here with you all, along with Sawyer, who's chiming in every now and then, depending on where I decide to edit in his portions of his recorded segments. Unfortunately, you couldn't.
You're
be
here in
with us.
spirit.
Yeah, Sawyer's here. Sawyer's here in spirit. He's absolutely here in spirit. So the last thing, obviously, with every season finale episode we do, for all of us here, we kind of give our last messages to the show, especially for graduating. I know. One person over here is graduating. She's doing so in fall of 25. Absolutely an achievement to behold. Sawyer is also graduating as well. He's leaving out here with his master's degree. So massive props to him.
Already?
Yeah.
Crazy.
As far as I remember, I don't remember if he was a double major or not. And now he's got his
I thought
master's.
I thought he
was a
said
double major.
He was a double major,
Yeah.
and now he's graduating with his master's this fall.
That's crazy already.
So with that being said, we're actually going to send things on over to Sawyer first, so he can give his last goodbye messages to the Inferno, because he'll be moving on to bigger and better things, as this is his last season of the Inferno. He joined us last semester in spring of 25. This will be his last year as a host of the show. So Sawyer, we'll hand it off to you. What's your last messages, man?
And now, of course, the sad part of the episode. I will be graduating this coming up Saturday, December 13th at 5 p.m. The last 4.5 years here at this school, watching these teams play and getting to meet you guys and getting to be a part of this for the last 2 semesters has been nothing short of amazing. I have seen every high and every low that, VSU athletics could have provided. I've seen the highs of winning a semifinal and going to the national championship game. I was blessed enough to be able to see that twice. Sure, we lost both times, but getting on that bus, going to Texas, and going into that stadium and supporting my team in a national championship game, that's something that very few people can actually say that they've been able to do. And so for me to have been able to do that twice, it was very special. Of course, I've seen the lows. I've seen the 2022 season where we failed to make the playoffs under first-year head coach Tremaine Jackson, who ended up being a very good coach by the end of it. Took VSU to a quarterfinal and a national championship appearance, along with 2 Gulf South Conference titles. And I've seen the basketball team, the men's basketball team, completely turn it around. Go from the bottom of the conference to last year being one of the top dogs, one of the forerunners, and they look like front runners again this year after a big upset over the number 8 team in the country in Alabama Huntsville. But just being able to sit here and talk sports, do something that I love doing, and just to be able to do it with people that I've gotten close with and that I care about, do it on a platform that allows me to just tell other people about what I see whenever I look at these athletic teams. It's been a great experience. As much as I say I hate this school, I hate this place, I can't wait to leave, that's not true. I love this place. Valdosta State will always hold a very special place in my heart. I love the athletic teams here. There is no team that I would rather support than the Blazers. And so with that being said, I guess for one final time, it's go Blazers. Forever and always. I can't wait to see what these teams do this season. With basketball, we got softball and baseball coming up, tennis coming up again, looking to win a 3rd straight national title. I can't wait. It's been a great run. I can't wait to see what this show continues to look like too.
And just coming back here again, season 5, last episode. I know this is only the second episode of this semester, or at least the second true episode of the Inferno. We had 2 Embers this season. It's the lowest output that we've had in all years of the show. And I just want to say for those who really do care out there, we apologize for that sincerely. Like we said at the beginning of the show, life has been lifing.
Like my bad.
It's been insane.
It's been crazy.
It's just been insane. So to just kind of wrap things up here, tie it all up in a neat little bow. Electra, do you want to go first with your message, or do you want us to go first? Do you already have what you're gonna say in mind?
Y'all can actually go first.
All right. So Electra, the mic is yours. What's your last message to the show? It's gonna be possibly your last one here as a host of the Inferno.
I just want to say thank you, Jalen, for asking me to be a part of your show this semester. Because you graduate next semester, how hectic and crazy your last semester is. Oh, yeah. So I appreciate you for I appreciate you for being understanding. That's not the word I want to use either. But thank you for being understanding, because you will see how that goes next semester. But yes, just overall, thank you for having me. Thank you for believing in me, because once I get done with my master's, or just later in life, this is actually what I want to do. I want to be an NBA sports broadcaster, not commentary like you do, because I can't. Right. I can't.
It's a very hectic.
Play-by-play is not for me. I just want to. At the beginning, at the end, that's it. So yes, thank you very much for believing in my future accomplishments that I want to get into.
You're welcome. That's always what I want this show. That's always what I want this show to be. Further beyond me, because this is something that I did as you all know, if you've seen the show before, you've heard me talk about it. This is a platform I really wanted to build. To help me with that, to help with my sports reporting and help with my speech as well. So I also have a couple speech impediments that I deal with. So just having a way to talk through that as well. It's been really effective and really helpful for me. I guess I'm gonna move on to Ansley now this year. Even though you've already graduated,
I'm old.
Your master's now, so
I'm old.
Probably gonna be returning next semester. But
yes.
So what do you have to say? So what do you have to say now as you get ready to close things out here for season 5, get ready for the spring?
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to say thank you as well, Jalen. I actually came to you and I was like, Jalen, I love what you're doing. Like, I need to hop on it with you. Like, I think that this is a great thing, not only for me, but to just allow that, to bring that experience, especially being an athlete here at Valdosta State. It kind of come from a different perspective, right?
Yeah, that different perspective.
And I know, and you at least get to interview the athletes. You get to bring them on, but like allowing to be here and give my input on other sports as well is really important for me. As you know, I want to be a silent reporter, so coming here and sitting in front of the cameras, the surrounding cameras, definitely allows me to also kind of grow into that position that I want to pursue. And I think this is a lot more of a safe space to kind of mess up, but to also know that like it's okay to mess up and to still grow from those things.
Yeah, because I edit.
Yeah,
I do edit. We've only had like 2 live. We've only had 2 live streams on the show. We've only had like 2 live streams on the show. I don't plan to make any of these episodes live. That's too much for me to deal with.
It's a lot, yeah. But I mean, just on top of that though, I mean, it allows me to be able to get more comfortable in front of cameras, and rather than, because in reality, like, I mean, I went to my undergrad here in public relations, but I had never had any experience. I knew I've always wanted to be a silent reporter, but I had no experience behind or in front of the camera. And this was just a blessing for me to come here. I know that you still have 1 more semester left, so just to wrap things all up, because you know I can chat for a couple of years. But yes, I am very grateful that I'm able to sit here and to be able to share my experiences and to just broaden my knowledge about all the sports and learn so much from you and just from my GA position now in athletics. So I want to say thank you, but it's not a bye for me. It's a see you later.
Yep.
So
we'll be right back. We'll be right back around here.
Yep.
Speaking of being right back around here, Deontay, even though this is your first episode here and you're on as a guest, is there anything you want to say, man?
Again, Jalen, I want to say thank you. It's a blessing. Jalen had asked me Tuesday after our sports writing class, asked me did I want to be a part of it. I'm like, sure. Like, I mean, I am doing sports writing for The Spectator, but, you know, being a host for the Inferno show, I mean, that's cool. That's cool with me. I mean,
the things they work well in tandem.
They do.
You have to remember Chris Mercer, who was on for several seasons. He was the sports editor. He was the editor before Lloyd took over. And then of course you know we had Jack Calhoun for a while. He called several Blazer sports as well. So it really pays to have sports writing and like sports information knowledge and be able to bring that onto something like this. To have that outlet to speak out about this stuff.
I feel like, you know, I do my own type of podcast. I do a podcast with my friends about, you know, wrestling on Tuesdays. And I feel like on here, I can really be myself. And I'm getting better on being on the camera, talking in front of people. And, you know, that's going to get better over time. But for now, I'm starting to be more in front of the camera and everything. So for now, I'm having fun. I'm really having fun.
That's the most important thing.
That's really what I wanted to do. Like, I want to be like you, Jalen. Like, be
don't be entirely like me. Please do not be entirely like me. There's already one of me, and that's enough.
I want to be like you when I grow up.
I want to do play-by-play. I'm starting to want to do like news reporting, sports reporting like that.
Okay.
So we'll see what.
We are very grateful for you, Jalen.
Very.
You have set the standard in a lot of ways, and just know that people look up to you, and that you've done a lot for these programs here. You really have.
And honestly, I really do appreciate these messages, guys. And honestly, I try not to think about it too much in the moment, but when I'm off on my own, if I'm ever feeling down, about myself, you know, doing this show, not only just doing this show, but being as involved with the sport, with the teams here as much as I have, and providing my voice for them, my likeness for them as much as I have. I'm not an athlete like you. I'm not an athlete like you. I'm not a writer. I'm not mainly a writer. I mean, just like Electra and I, we run cameras. It just also happens that, you know, I do commentary as well, and that's a skill that I've had to learn. I've had to grow and progress for a long time, and that's also why, you know, you guys have probably heard this plenty of times before in the last couple season finales, but that's why I made this podcast. That's why I made this podcast as just a way to, just like Anthony said, as a bit of a safe space to mess up.
Yeah.
As a way to get a little unhinged sometimes, to kind of like drop that professionalism a little bit and to just have fun with it. So I'll save the true goodbye message for when I graduate in May of 26, in which on one hand, it's going to sadden me incredibly. I might actually cry in camera when that happens, but also for that day to come around. But
you deserve it.
But also at the same time, I just want to get my bachelor's, man.
Once you get it, you feel good.
I just want to graduate at this point. That's where I'm at this point. But I know my tone and my intuition and my thoughts about that will change as time goes on. So I'll leave it at this message for anyone here that's tuning in. Anyone in Valdosta State in the mass media program. You don't even have to be a mass media student, because you know Sawyer was a business major. Sawyer's a freaking business major. You're technically a public relations major. So this show is not meant to just be limited for mass media students or just limited to the absolute sports nuts. But you got to have a kind of sports knowledge to come on and talk about this stuff.
Yes.
But I sincerely hope for those out there tuning in, especially if you're a freshman, a sophomore, and you know doing sports talk, you have a really good knowledge about sports, and you want to be able to do something like this. I mean, to be fair, I never intended for this show to just stop when I graduate. That's never been my intention for this show to just end when I graduate. I want this to continue on for as long as it can possibly be sustained. Because I know sports talk here, and just talking about sports, you know, at the local high schools and whatnot, Lowndes and Valdosta, you know, people are football nuts around here. But, you know, when you come to Valdosta State, you're seeing also all the other sports, you're seeing basketball, you're seeing soccer, you're seeing volleyball, tennis, baseball, softball, all that. If this is a space, if you think this is a space for you where you want to come in and just talk sports, you want to talk Valdosta State sports, I'm gonna make that very, very specific here. That's literally in the title here, Blazer Sports Show. That's literally in there. This is what this is about. I hope for those out there as well, if this is something you want to do, I hope this inspires you to want to make content like this and to be a part of this podcast network of something that I started, but I know is not going to end with me. And that's really the message I want to leave behind here. So with that being said, that's how we're going to wrap up season 5, recorded in early December. It's probably didn't come out like mid-December while I'm in the middle of finals.
That's fine.
While I'm in the middle of finals and preparing for games I got to travel to. But for the last time this season, for Electra Thomas, for Ansley DeCenzo, for Deontay Daniel, and for Sawyer Baltimore, I'm Jalen Scott. Thank you so much for tuning in to the season 5 finale of the Inferno B.S.S Sports Show. And Craig, say something to the people.
Craig.
Bye, Felicia.